Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in. Welcome to So That Just Happened, a podcast for those who have lost their person and want to find themselves. I'm Carly Cooper, a single mom, widow, coach, author, and chronic truth seeker. My superpower is finding the funny, the hope, and the silver lining in any shit situation. This podcast is for the purpose of education only and is not a replacement for therapy. If you need additional support, please seek out a trained professional for help with your specific situation. Let's get to it, shall we? Hello, everybody, and thanks for tuning in to episode 1 of So That Just Happened. Okay, I'm going to take a deep breath because I'm here. This idea, this podcast has been on my brain for a while. I've had the intention of wanting to start it many times, but life. And I'm here now. And so thank you so much for joining. I have taken really the last, I'd say 19-ish months from the time that I'm recording to really try and figure myself out. I will get into more of my story in this episode and in future episodes, so you'll understand the context of that. But I haven't done career work. I walked away from my coaching practice that I'd built up for the last 16 years, and I just really took that time, and I still continue to take this time to figure out who I am now as a result of what's happened to me, as I will explain. And this podcast is something that has sort of evolved. It's the result of where I'm at now and the kind of work that I'm thinking of wanting to do moving forward. But I don't know. I am giving myself permission to change my mind at any given moment, but I will finish out this episode at least, so don't worry about that. So I really decided to do this podcast because I wanted to share what's worked for me to really become more resilient and unapologetically me. And even though I'm still very much a work in progress, I am someone who believes that until the day we die, we constantly need to work on ourselves and do the work and dive deep and get in the trenches and figure out what we want and who we are and what our values are and all that stuff until the day we die. So we are constantly a work in progress. But these episodes, my intention is to help you find your way back to you. Just like I have and am continuing to find my way back to me. So that's whether you're a widow, whether you're divorced, or you're just feeling lost or alone. I want you to free yourself from the false stories, the limiting beliefs, the fears, and the self-doubt that may be holding you back from really living and loving your life. So my intention with these future episodes is to help you think differently, to help you shift your perspective and to gain clarity and to really let go of your past and become so unshakably confident in who you are that you just naturally become a magnet to attract everything you want in your life. And I know that may sound a little woo-woo for some of you. Welcome to my podcast. It's going to be a little woo-woo. It's going to be a little out there, but it's also going to be a lot practical. So I just invite you to open up your mind to possibilities. So just to give you a little backstory of my situation and why I feel like I can speak to this, on May 20th of 2021, my life changed dramatically. In an instant, like in a split second. My husband and best friend for 27 years took his life after losing his battle with depression. And I was left with a 14-year-old son, that's how old he was at the time, 2 dogs, one of them was a puppy, and a life that was designed for two adults to manage. And now it was all on me in a split second. And even though that was hands down the worst day of my life, because I've done a lot of work, like I'm talking a shit ton of work from that day forward, but also prior to, I have been able to come out on the other side. But what it did is it took a lot of willingness to do the inner work. It required that I face my biggest fears, that I sit in the mud, and that I really be in the heaviness in order for me to really heal. So I want to just put out a disclaimer right now that I'm not an expert in grief or trauma. I haven't studied it for years. I haven't researched it. I haven't read about it. I mean, I read one book, but I don't remember what I had for lunch. So I definitely did not retain information from reading that. I am just someone who's experienced it firsthand. And my hope is that through my story, my experiences, and the knowledge that I've picked up over the last 30 plus years of studying and practicing and teaching and immersing myself in personal growth and development and mindset strategies, and I've also invested a shit ton of money in coaching, like having my own coaches and my own mentors and healing practices and all the things, because I value spending money and investing in myself. And so through all of that, my hope is that through my experience, my stories, my strategies, my tools that I share with you, that you can find your own comfort and hope in wherever you are. Again, if you lost somebody and you're a widow or divorce, or you just feel alone, right? Like whatever that is for you, my hope is that you feel motivated to up-level your life, that you get inspired to put yourself first and do the work necessary to reinvent yourself. And by reinventing yourself, it's not changing entirely who you are, but it's taking the parts that aren't working for you anymore and molding yourself or creating this new version into the best version of you possible. I know firsthand how lonely and sad it feels to lose your person. And I know how lost it can make you feel, and how frustrating and angry it can make you. And I understand how unfair it all seems. But I also know that you can move through it, that you can find joy and peace and love and purpose again. You just have to want to. You have to make that commitment to yourself that you want a different life for yourself, that you give yourself permission to smile again, to laugh again, to love again, to feel joy again, to work again or not work, right? That you just have to give yourself that permission. And then you have to take the time to do the things to make it happen. And I am all about taking action, small action, but you can't just like want it and wish it and pray on it and hope for it. Yes, that's a component, but there must be action taken. So I really, 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 really hope that you understand that it is possible to feel calmer and level-headed after experiencing trauma. It is possible to open yourself up to find and feel love again. It is possible to move forward with your life with clarity and confidence and grace. And it is possible to unapologetically, and I mean unapologetically, live life on your terms. And we will unpack the shit out of that one, because I know that for many women, mothers, wives, all of it, that's a really hard one, to unapologetically live life on your terms, because we are so busy taking care of everybody else. And there's that saying that I am only as good as my most miserable child. And yes, I get that. I feel that on the daily. But I promise you that everyone around you will benefit far greater if you are living unapologetically on your terms. And that's not about being selfish, and that's not neglectful. It is empowering and inspiring and motivating, and the people around you will rise up because of it. Future episode. We'll get there. Okay. I want to also say that, yes, it's very easy for me to say all these things and, all the things that we need to do and sit in it and feel all the things and whatever. It's not easy. It's definitely not fun. And some days it's going to hurt like fucking hell. But I promise you that you can get through it with the right mindset, determination, vision, clarity, all the things. But the only way through is through. So you're going to have to feel and sit in it and cry and do all the things to make it through. And I am an example. That's the whole reason why I'm doing this, is because I want to show you what's possible. And I'm not saying it's perfect, and I'm not saying it's always pretty, and it's definitely not easy, but it's possible. And I just want to give you that glimmer of hope. So whether you tuned in because you lost someone you loved, you walked away from a quote unquote comfortable life that in your heart of hearts you knew that you deserved something more, or you just never quite felt like you've hit your stride, I want you to leave each episode feeling more empowered than when you arrived. Even if you just get one tiny golden nugget that makes you feel like, yeah, shit, man, I've got this. That's what I want you to feel. So the next time you face an obstacle, a challenge, or a setback, it's like, okay, yeah, that sucks. I'm going to feel that, but I know that whatever comes my way, I can handle it. And this is what's going to show you what you're made of. Okay, so again, unfortunately, I got an education in life that I didn't want, that I didn't ask for. But I know where all my shit is. I know that I literally went through the worst. It's relative, but for me and for many, I went through something incredibly traumatic and scary and sad and all the things. And so I, in a way, because of that, and because I've done the work, and because I continue to do the work, I have this feeling of being a little bit bulletproof. Well, a lot bulletproof. In the sense that, when you've kind of gone through the worst, all the other things that happen in your life are kind of not a big deal anymore. Yes, they suck and it's hard and it hurts and all the things, but it's fuck, I got this because I just survived that. And that's how I want you to feel, whatever your situation is. And I hope you haven't gone through the worst, but it's all relative, right? So your worst is your worst. And I want you to feel like you can handle whatever comes your way. So what can you expect from future episodes? I'm going to share mindset strategies that will help you get out of your way, clear up any fears or doubts or limiting beliefs that are holding you back from really putting yourself out there again. And I'm going to share manifestation tips to help you attract more of what you want. I did say that there is going to be some woo-woo elements to this, but these are universal laws. I joke that I am part witch, but I'm not, in the sense that what I practice and what I share is universal. It's a universal law. Law of attraction is the same as law of gravity. Some of the rituals that I do might feel a little like, what? But, take what you want and leave the rest. So I'm going to share different ways to manifest more of what you want, whether that's a new loving relationship, closer friendships, business partnerships, a new career, you want a new house, or whatever you want, it's all the same. So I'm going to just help you get clear about that. And I want to also have compelling interviews with some of my soul sisters and mentors where we're going to go deep into different ways that how we've healed and what practices they've done and what's worked and what hasn't worked and how we've overcome our worst experiences and darkest times. So my hope for that is that somewhere in those conversations, you're going to resonate. You're going to see your story in that or in them. I'm going to share healing practices that have worked for me, ways to open yourself up to love again, and how to reinvent yourself in the most glorious, unapologetic way. And I want to just say that this is not a one-size-fits-all approach. I am not claiming to be a guru or an expert in anything. And so I really want you to just take what resonates with you and leave the rest. And if nothing resonates, okay, that's fine too. It's not a substitute also for professional help. So I am trained and I'm a life coach and I've been doing that for years and, but I'm not a therapist. And so if you feel like you need additional support, and there ain't no shame in that, believe me, I've had it, I've done it, and I am still open to it, please seek that out for yourself. So this is just, conversation, tools, tips, strategies. But, for me, and I'll talk about this again in future episodes, but for me, the first thing I did was I went to get EMDR therapy, which I would love to break that acronym down. But I only know that it's eye movement, and I don't know what the DR, I can't remember. So Google that. But it's a really good therapy to help with grief and trauma. And I did that as soon as I could get an appointment right after the event, because I knew that, I personally, this is my personal opinion, and this is not a knock on therapy or therapists. I think there's absolutely a place for it, and it's very helpful, and I would never, ever try and tell somebody not to do it. So let me be clear. But for me, because I've done so much work on myself and I've studied self-help and personal growth for 30 plus years, and I'm so super aware, I feel like for me, traditional talk therapy was not what I needed. I didn't need to talk about my situation. I know I have a certain arrogance about it for me because I just know so much. I just know myself so well, is what I'm trying to say. So I needed to get a kind of therapy that I had no training in and knew nothing about, and that was really going to get under the hood. So it wasn't like talking about the day. I didn't need that. I needed to literally rewire my brain in a very practical way, not in a talking way, but in a let's actually rewire my brain. So I am not freaked out and I'm not scared to be in my house. And because I knew that now I needed to show up and be the adult for my son. I had nobody else to rely on. Yes, I have wonderful family and friends, but at the end of the day, it's me. And so that was something I did immediately, as soon as I could get an appointment, and it literally saved me. All that to be said is, if you feel like you need additional support, get it. So I think that's it for this first episode. I kind of just wanted to leave the first one as a what to expect, why I'm here, why I'm doing this, why you should listen to me. And so I think I'm just going to leave it at that for now. But make sure you tune into future episodes, and I plan on, now let me say that loosely, because part of the new version of myself is to go with the flow and not be so tied and pressured and hustle and all that shit that I did for 16 years that led to burnout and all the things. I'm trying to just like be more in the flow of the creativity and when I feel inspired and when something strikes and I want to share it. That said, my goal and intention is to still put these out every Monday. We'll see. Permission to change my mind. But anyway, subscribe and tune in, and that's the intention. So thank you so much for listening and joining me for this very first episode. I hope that you join me for future episodes, and wishing you all the best. Bye for now. All right, my friends. Thank you so much for listening to this So That Just Happened podcast. I really hope you found value in this episode and that you're walking away with at least one golden nugget that you can implement or feel inspired by. I would be so grateful if you would share it with one friend or family member who is committed to moving forward and transforming their life. Make sure you subscribe so you can catch every new episode, and please leave me a review. It would mean so much to me. Also, follow me on Facebook and Instagram at @CoachCarly. Thanks again for listening, and I'll see you in the next episode.